Hello everybody, welcome to the second episode of building the Hunger Games land/ride. So this is my second episode doing this. If you haven't watched the first one, I recommend you watch it so you can get caught up on where we're at. But you're gonna notice that I say and it's a lot, and in this episode I'm gonna try to slow that down. We're gonna try to keep that to a minimum. Alright, there's no going back now. So, we are going to be building President Snow's estate. Yes, estate. I had to look that up too. And it's pretty much just a piece of property that one person owns, and I felt like that estate just sounded right to say instead of mansion. So, before we get into that, we are obviously doing the lighting, and we are finishing up the entrance to the Hunger Game ride. I still haven't figured out a name. I was hoping that you guys could help me with that, but no one except for one person commented on my video, and that person was Mario, who said, "Looking forward to this." Me too, Mario. Me too. So, like I said, if you comment, I will read it. Getting past that, we are doing the roof to the hangar. I kind of do this basic striped design just to give it some more infrastructure. And I'm usually a fast talker, like normal day to day. I'm a fast talker, so this is hard to slow down and not be so loud, because I do get excited, and when I get excited I get loud, and that just makes a very unwatchable video. And now we're extending the pathway, we're extending the pathway that I've been working on. And most of this I did cut out, and I did speed up, I think, let's check, I sped this up 2,300%. And mostly that's because it's boring, nobody really wants to watch that. But yeah, so we just gotta fill in these spaces with the triangles that you see, so we don't get that collision, because that's ugly. So I try my best to never have that in my parks. But yeah, now we start, finally, President Snow's estate. He has this little staircase going up to a little plateau in his front yard, and this is actually based off of a real life mansion or estate in Atlanta, Georgia, called the Swan House, and I thought it was so pretty, and it would fit really well in with this little area I got going on. It would break up the buildings, and it would be a nice transitional point to go from this more brutalist architecture style that I've been obsessing over to maybe a more still like brutalist or brutalism style, but more of a, characterized like by the people that lived in it and live in these buildings, which is going to be to the right of President Snow's estate. So I'm putting in the stairs here, nothing special. I actually continue those lines all the way down the sides of the house, and I later on in the video will add all the railings. I just don't do that at first because I need to see how much detail needs to go into the house before I focus on those little things that can honestly just be like 3 pieces instead of like 5 or 6, which I think they turned out to be. Moving on, we start the actual fountain that's in front of the house. There's this really pretty fountain, and it's gonna be a lot of pieces, so forgive me, but I have been very lazy making this fountain. And also my thought process is, you know what, no one's gonna see it because there's gonna be a metal gate right in front of his house to pretty much blocking up all that detail. Unless you really like look through, you're gonna notice it's just nothing. It's just walls. There's no fountain, there's no trench for the water to go, there's nothing. I then went and connected the house to the actual guest pathway, and we start the actual detail on the house, such as the door. The door is probably one of the most detailed doors I've ever had to build in this game. Not only is it just this very Tuscan detailed door, It's also has a very ornament, like, pot thingy on the top of it, vase. And it's just, luckily there are vases in this game, but I also wanted to try to make it look custom, and you know what, I don't think it really worked out, but it definitely, like, this isn't a full replica of this house. It's more of a shrunken down version of it, just so it can fit inside the park and not be too many pieces. If I made this to size, then it would be probably the size of this whole land. That's how big this house is in real life. When you see like pictures next to people, it's insane. One thing I did make sure was that the panes of windows in the doors and in the windows were exact. So there you go. One thing that's different between my first episode of this series and now is that I'm really making sure that I'm talking about the video and not just rambling on, because I feel like that was the problem with my last video. It was all shot in one take and I was like, oh, this is easy. And then I looked at the video and I was like, I'm still gonna post it because I want to always move forward with my content. One of my New Year's resolutions was to not be so hard on myself, and that's exactly why I started making this series. It's a little daunting to look at and to make sure you record yourself building, but as long as you keep your mindset like, hey, I'm not gonna beat myself over this, it's literally just a game, then hey, that's why we have this video on my channel now, is because that was my New Year's resolution. So I'm continuing the door, the little top of it where it has a little overhang, and on top of it is where that vase, that marble vase is going to be, and I put that up there in just a second. But one thing I want to point out is all the storytelling characteristic elements I put into the door, such as the thorns on either side of it. I think this is important to kind of symbolize who President Snow is as a person, especially when you watch the Soundbirds and the most recent one. I haven't watched it. I'm realizing now I haven't really watched or seen anything I've been building, like The Last of Us. Anyways, let's just move on. Let's just move on from the door because I'm obviously done with it. And I'm now shaping out what the windows are going to be. There's this really cute little circle window at the very tippy top. And if this is my house, that would be my room. But yeah, I'm building it right now. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something really good. Oh, this. I'm not going to be making the back. I'm checking it out there. But I'm not going to be making the back because no real theme park would. And that's just more piece count. And I have a lot of ideas I would love to put in this park. There is going to be a time where we do run out of piece count and we're just going to have to start a new park and pretend it continues. We're just going to have to use our imaginations like that. But I'm sure you guys are down with that. And I feel like I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I've been asked what I'm gonna do after the Hunger Games. I might go over to Stranger Things and try to finish that up as much as I can until I reach the piece limit. But then I would like to start a new park and kind of pretend that it continues. Like the expansion areas are, I can just edit it. And speaking of editing, I want to make one thing clear. I am still going to keep the old style videos. So if you did subscribe to my channel from these old style videos where it's just a POV with all the copyright music in the world, don't worry, those are still coming and I won't make a cent from them. The windows look like jail bars right now. They're not going to stay like that, I promise you. I'll add that glass pane in and it'll look a lot better. And what I'm actually doing right now is there's these golden divots inside of the wall right next to the either side of the door, and it's a peacock, I think, and like peacock little statue, and I can't make that with the pieces that I'm given, so I just kind of made a little derp face in there. And I'm starting the bottom windows, which also has an accent piece on the very middle of the window. And it's a very, very pretty build, I think. And there we go. I fixed the windows so they didn't look like jail cells. Even though I feel like that would be pretty fitting for President Snow's house, like a jail being his house. So yeah, we're just going to copy this window over and save us a bunch of time. God bless the copy and paste feature in this game. I have some parks where I don't have that feature, and yeah, there's a big difference in the game. Like, it's completely game changing. I'm just smoothing out and finishing off these little divots that I made, and we finally start the circle window, and this is when I start running into some annoying problems, such as piece count. I know there's no way to really fix this like inside the game. It's just a part of the game, and honestly, I kind of like it. Like, I try to think I don't like it, but I try to think of it in a positive way. So I'm like, okay, this is like too over the budget. This is too over the budget. I got to think creatively to fix this, and you'll see in just a second when I actually like start making the panes and stuff. That's when I overdid it. To be fair, I am pushing this game to, I don't even think the creator intended it for it to be made like this, or to make buildings like this, but I'm doing it like that, and I'm kind of just extending this top area, the third floor. And why is my voice going away? I just started recording this. Anyways, I make the curved little walls there to give it that Tuscan vibe, and I add the little roof trimmings. There's no real roof on it, it's just, a flat roof with trimmings on it. I don't really know what you call it, but added that, and then I actually flattened this whole third floor in a little bit, because I realized, like, also in our theme park, this whole building would be, on the other side would be complete just wood and concrete and stuff like that. So really, like, just worry about what the guests see, and then anything at the back, just make it concrete or make it gray, because that's in real life how a theme park would that's how they would make it. And I continue that roof trimming down both sides, and I create it on the very top for that top floor, and you can actually see, yep, I flattened it all out there, and I add a little bit of that metal support structure at the very back, just to give it that realism twang, that kind of cheap twang that you'd see in some theme parks. So after making this roof, I then start on the metal railways, and kind of the base of these railways, I kind of wanted it to look like a chess piece. I tried my very best. I think it looks like a chess piece. Now, if you haven't watched my full tour video of this park, which I think you should, it's a fun video. It's my first ever video with me commentating. I mention and actually show a little bit of what the ride's going to be like, and it's pretty much a sit-down roller coaster, except it can move and turn in directions that I tell it to. So I think I'm gonna start it the same, but the overall story, I think as we build it, we can totally change it. You guys can add your ideas, I'll obviously add my ideas, and hopefully it'll be a really fun project to start with you guys. And I'm hoping to start it next episode. So now we are starting the final piece to this puzzle, which is the metal gates in front of President Snow's house. This is I know it's pretty monumental in the series, because spoiler alert, in one of the last films, it turns out that one of the main characters pretty much unalives a bunch of kids. Yeah, pretty messed up. And so it's just putting in a lot of this detail that, in real life I would want it to be like metal thorns and roses and vines all over this metal fence, but in this game I can't do that without breaking it or making my computer blow up. So we just don't do that, and we just make a regular gate. And you'll actually see me kind of get a little lazy here, and when we get to the actual gate part, the thing that opens, it's pretty much the same exact design, except I just add a few differences. But you know what? Give me a break. I want to work on the fun stuff. I'm sure you want to see me work on the fun stuff too, like the ride, and which I promise I will get to in the next episode, but you can see I'm just adding in these little details. Most people are not going to notice, but that's okay. And then I actually start making the gate that will open to let people in, to let guests into the parties that Mr. President Snow has, and where they drink drinks so they can puke so they can eat more, and just things like that. Things like that. Because that's what happens in the capital. They're just so rich that they get bored from eating and they want to keep on eating, that they take drinks so they can yak it all up. But yeah, we're getting to the very end of this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments right now. It's now or never. And I might even give you a little shout out in the next video. So make sure you do that. But we're going to get into some cinematics like right now. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you took something from it that you can bring to your own parks. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.